Spread far and wide the precepts and counsels of your loving Lord, so that this world will change into another world. There's also another passage that says, and this is a very familiar passage, it's the first thing that you read when you open the prayer book. It says, intone, O my servant, the verses of God that have been received by thee, as intoned by them who have drawn nigh unto him, that the sweetness of thy melody may kindle thine own soul and attract the hearts of all men. You know, now, if you go on and read the rest of that passage, it talks about, you know, even though we may remain unaware of its effect, yet the virtue vouchsafed, you know, in these words, not only impact us, but they scatter abroad the fragrances of God, and they impact the environment around us. Now, I contend that that's what our ancestors were doing with their music. You know, so keep in mind that when these folks were being captured and put in bondage, they were not enslaving slaves. They were enslaving people that had built civilizations, that had built extensive cultures of meaning and existence. And so, do you not think that if you take the weapons out of the hands of a general, or you try to tie up the hands of a matriarch or a warrior or a scientist or whoever, that they won't find a way to resist? And that's exactly what they did. You know, we have always believed, and this is something that my grandfather conveyed to me about the music that we were doing. He says that when that music goes out, it doesn't return void. That means that when it goes out and it does work. So our music for us was created to go do work. You know, as Douglas said, if you are not affected by that music, there is no flesh on your obdurate heart. We're even told in our healing prayer, our long healing prayer, that if you're passing by the house where people are praying, that you're still going to be impacted by that, even though you may not know it. So that's how we use music. We understood that principle. You know, so we use music to turn the hearts of people that had hatred in their hearts for us. So that's one thing that we have to that we have to understand here. But I'm giving you these foundations from the Baha'i Faith so that you understand, because, you know, I travel a lot. I do a lot of work with Baha'is, and they say, well, we don't sing. We're not a singing faith. You know, we don't sing like Black folks sing. But when I think about that story that I shared with you, it says that we gave them two verses to sing. We were sitting on two other sides, and one side was sing, God is sufficient unto me. He verily is the all sufficing. The other side would sing, in him let the trusting trust. In him let the trusting trust. Now, what that sounds like to me is call and response. And if I was a betting man, I would say, and state unequivocally that our faith was born in bondage and conceived in the most sacred of songs. So when you say we don't sing, we were born and manifested and drummed up our courage in songs and chants. So it's odd not to sing. Lift up your voices and sing out the song of the kingdom. Spread far and wide the precepts and counsels of the loving Lord, so that this world will change into another world. That's why we sing. We don't sing to be seen. We sing because when we do that, when we take these prayers and when we take these divine words and when we take our heart and we put it on those melodies, it goes out and it does something in the world. Okay. So meanwhile, while Baha'u'llah and the Babis were in this prison, they were singing, God is sufficient unto me. He verily is the all sufficing. In him let the trusting trust. In him let the trusting trust. It says that the sound penetrated the walls and it reached their captor. He said, what means this sound? I mean, I beat him. I cut them. I tried to blow them up. And they're still singing. What means this sound? Now we need to think about that because that sound of those birth pangs of our faith were not just heard by the Shah. Those things began to spread all over the world, and we're told that the sun will rise in the east, and that the product of that sun, the energy of that sun, will be felt in the west. It will begin to manifest. And you know, that didn't just start to happen when Baha'is in Europe and America started to take notice of the faith. There were people that had been calling on the blessed beauty for centuries. And so all the way across the ocean, something else was happening. You know, it's no coincidence that the year that Baha'u'llah announced who he was, that that marked the same time of the emancipation of Black people in America.